Oh my God, please work. Please, love of God, work. Hello and welcomes to, I'm not saying it because I know that's Rifle go, like, he says it without him here. We'll call it the Waffle Hour. Waffles. Grab your forks, as he would say, grab your knives. It's the Waffle Hour, whatever you want to say it as. He'll kill me for that.
Maple syrup out!
Yeah, maple syrup.
Time.
And bacon, let's go.
Oh, I love bacon. Anyway,
Now,
we're getting off a tangent.
So it's all right. Now, Strife isn't here for this episode purely because he hasn't played this game, and I've been waiting patiently for you two just to see what your thoughts were, because
Yeah.
it has obviously been a fun game for 2024. You, Kate, were really excited for it because obviously you really enjoyed Remake a few years back, and it was your first exposure to 7.
Yeah. I think it's my
Dan,
favourite Final Fantasy.
It's one of mine. It was my first ever one I played. Me and Dante, we obviously have played the original, and so obviously we know. It's great because we have two opposing views. One, someone who's new to the series in terms of this game, and two people here who have played the original and are going, "What the fuck? What the fuck?"
Oh, believe me, I'm still going. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You just have
Actually,
a little bit
even
more
I am,
back.
and I-
Yeah, a little bit more air destroying everything there.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I figured for the review, obviously, or the talk on the podcast, I would have some random video, and where better to relax and discuss it than Costa del Sol.
Costa del Sol.
I mean, I'm going to try and find a segue in a little bit anyway, and I made sure that, Cloud is wearing, appropriate gear for that. I would have had the characters in, like, swimwear, but I didn't know if that would be
I
appropriate.
love how it's only Tifa in her swimwear. That's funny.
Oh, no, the others were in their swimwear.
Important question for you, Edge.
Yep.
Are you Team Tifa or Team Aerith?
Oh, well, now that is a good question. So, I assume then who did you go for your love interest?
Well, Dante played it, but we both agreed Tifa. We are most definitely a Team Tifa. I love Aerith, don't get me wrong. I like Aerith, but Tifa.
Okay. So, I went down the Aerith route.
Okay.
OG classic.
OG classic, yeah, and also because there was things about Tifa that just rubbed me the wrong way sometimes. Yeah, no, seriously. You'll know when we play part 3, this will be a massive debate, I'm fairly sure. Like, for those interested, me and Kate were massive shippers of Naruto for him and a particular character.
Yeah.
You were always Sakura and Naruto, and I was Hinata. And vindication for me, one up for me that one. But at the same token, it's like I know that's going to happen
Mostly
again.
because I didn't want Sakura to end up with Sasuke. That was the only reason.
That is a good point.
She
Sasuke
deserved
is a
better
dick.
than Sasuke. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he's not done well for himself as he in recent stuff.
No.
So yeah, thoughts on the game. So you've obviously both completed it. I did it about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago now, I think. What are your thoughts about the game as overall compared to the original remake that you played? Have you enjoyed it? What do you think about it at the moment? Kate, what do you think?
Want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like, I really, really did. I super enjoyed Remake, though. I thought this one was great because it really did a good job, an even better job than the OG from what Dante tells me, of fleshing out the characters and their backstory and their relationships, and just having the extra sort of panache of like the look of it, the cutscenes and the voice acting and the music and just everything was awesome. And I really enjoyed. Not much happens in terms of like the main story, but it's more of like a journey of getting to know this crew and them getting to know each other and sort of like gelling with each other as the story progresses, and I really friggin' enjoyed it. Like, it was really good. I have thoughts on the open world, and we'll talk about that. I get why they did it, but personally, I felt there was a little bit too much of it, and I felt that really impacted upon the pacing of the story, massively so. I like the open world elements of it. I like the fact that everything you did in the open world had a purpose to it, and you were very well rewarded, you know. But it was the very, very Ubisoftification of open world design, in that you just have a map, a map that's kafluckered with so many icons. I use your word, with so many icons and your towers that you unlock and everything. But I loved the Proto Relic storyline. I really enjoyed that. I thought those were really fun. The mini games, there are so many mini games in this game that are just utterly insane. But they're like really, apart from a few select examples, like most of them are just really well designed, and they really do shake it up a little bit. Like, you know, they changed the pace a little bit, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So that was great. But yeah, I do think there was a bit too much of it. But I do think it also did a very good job with the side missions in terms of like just expanding this world. You know, because obviously in the remake we only really see Midgar, right? So I thought it did a very good job of kind of opening up the world and giving you lore dumps on like certain regions. I loved what they did with Cosmo Canyon. That whole bit with Red 13 nearly brought me to tears. I freaking loved it.
Nanaki.
You know, yeah, Nanaki, yeah. So, yeah, there was lots of really like going to Gongaga, which obviously now I've played Crisis Core and I'm now more connected to Zack, had more of an emotional impact on me because of having played that game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, 118 hours I think it took us to beat the game, and we pretty much did everything bar one side mission that was bugged, which meant we couldn't get 100% completion. We did 36 out of 37 side missions, and the last side mission was bugged in an update,
God.
which meant we couldn't complete it and couldn't get it, which is really annoying. So hopefully they'll patch that and fix that. But yeah, absolutely loved it. I'm very excited for number 3. I have thoughts which we'll talk about later, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the combat was great, and the synergy, I'm not going to say everything because Dante will want to say some things, and I don't want to take things that he's going to say, but we both very, very much enjoyed like the game, and yeah, I thought it improved on a lot of things in remake, even though remake was great, but yeah, it was good.
Dante, your thoughts?
I feel like Kate read the first draft of my review for this game and he just basically reread it all out.
No, I didn't.
So what else can I say that's different? Okay, so yeah, as when I first got like my PlayStation 1 and ended up with Final Fantasy 7, I didn't have many other games, so it was, I think, the first and only RPG I played 3 times start to finish back to back. Somehow, like, you know, getting the things I missed the second time round, and then actually buying a player's guide for the third one, and making sure I got 100%. So it's like, I knew that inside out. So I love how like Remake and Rebirth have just really massively fleshed out everything, and like Kate was saying, the characters are just so spot on, like their voice acting and everything is just brilliant. I love these guys. This whole world that's built up and everything, it's just amazing. I have to say, yeah, the open world, I think it could have only worked the way they've done it, really, because you go back to the original and it is a big massive open map, but there's not much going on. It's like the old Final Fantasies 1 to 6. It's kind of like pretty barren. It's just there for random encounters.
It's only got monsters in it for you to fight.
Yeah, it's just for grinding, basically. To get point A to B, you've got grinding space in between. And yeah, they did really well bringing back characters from Remake that might not have left Midgar at all in the original, and some other things. It's like it was. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I know it like took like roughly 115 hours, but it didn't feel like that in a way, because like we were recording it all the way through playing, and every time like the 55-minute mark timer started popping up, I'm like, really? Is it? Although damn, I spent a lot of time just shuffling material around.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I just massively enjoyed it. Like, I've got some little maybe irks near the ending, but other than that, and some, like, the plots being fleshed out were brilliant, but there was just the odd one where I was like, why did they make that decision to change that, or why have they gone off in that, or why aren't the characters reacting to what just happened there, because red flags, yo, and stuff like that. So I've got, other than that, just bloody brilliant, really.
Okay.
What did you think, Edge?
Right. So, I would definitely say at this point in time that the game is just a great improvement over Remake in terms of it felt like things that they had done in the previous game they had kind of improved on this version. So if you look back on Remake, for example, and the side quests in Remake, you would do them, but they kind of distracted or took away from the story, in my mind.
Yeah.
Whereas with this game, a lot of the side quests, all had like extra kind of story, had things that had kind of built on the world or gave you more kind of more information or hints as to what's going on. And I
Some
felt
of
that,
it, especially in because in Cosmo Canyon, there's a couple of side missions in there. I'm like, dude, this should be in the main story. Like the amount of like lore and stuff you're learning. It's like,
oh gosh, yeah. And it was like kind of you could just bomb through the story, or you could literally just stop. And the thing is, the crazy thing about it all is it's all optional. You don't have to do it, and that's the crazy.
True.
That's the crazy thing with my OCD is I really want to make sure I do everything and complete everything, because you think you have to do it, but actually, at any point in the story, you can just go for it, and that's something I might try at some point. Ignoring all the story.
That is definitely, I agree with you on that one. That is something that this open world design is better than say Ubisoft, because Ubisoft have a habit of like level gating things, right?
Yeah, you've got to do stuff.
You got to grind. You got to do the open world stuff to level and to grind to be able to progress the main story. And you don't have to do that in this, right? I mean, there are certain levels, for certain things that you'll face and stuff like that, which it'll kind of tell you. But generally speaking, like, I don't think you have to do the open world stuff. But I think the open world stuff does a good job in that it feels rewarding enough. And you get some really good material, some really good story and development of the world. It feels worth doing it. Like I loved finding the live stream, right? Like the live streams that you could activate, and they would give you like lore dumps on the region, codex entries, and I'm all for that kind of thing, right?
Or things like
RPG.
Chocobo digging as well, in terms of locations for items and equipment. It rewards you for doing stuff, and the rewards. The only thing is like, and it's not a detriment to the game. But for those completionists who just need to get everything done before moving to the next location, it can just burn you out because there's just so much to do. I mean, I've not done this, so I've still got a load of things on the combat simulator to do. There's the very hard mode unlocked now. There's like additional content you can do. There's like the Queen's Blood stuff. Apparently that's been really
Oh
fuck
Queen's
no.
Blood. The story for Queen's Blood is it's good. There's actually a story thread that goes throughout it, so it is worth doing.
At some point I will, but I just wasn't interested at that time. Maybe
and you get some really cool cards.
Yeah, the cards are kind of fun, and once I get more into it and I play it and I understand it more, probably I will enjoy it. I do love card games, but the only thing that kind of made me go, oh no, is when we're on the boat and you gave me the Queen's Blood tournament. I'm like,
I love that. Oh,
I
it was
quit.
so good.
I literally jumped out.
It was so good. I loved that bit. That was one of my favourite bits, like on the boat.
And then they still let me fucking do the final.
The culmination of that at the end, obviously with Red 13. But like, yeah, it's so good. I mean, it reminds me heavily of Gwen, and I loved Gwen in The Witcher 3, and it's as equally a well-designed like side sort of mini game, just as Gwent was in that, and they even dedicated an entire team just to develop that Queen's Blood minigame and story arc. An entire team was just dedicated to that, and it does show in the quality of that game, and as you start to unlock like more powerful cards and things like that. Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good.
I mean, the crazy thing is, like, as you can see on the map, I know Dante can't see this, but the game is massive.
It's huge.
Like,
yeah.
the coral region, going into the desert, going into Gongaga, going to Nibelheim. There's just so much content. Absolutely. Going between each of the areas. Like, there's Midgar and the grasslands. I literally did everything I could going around that, exploring, and it was just so much fun to explore. In terms of combat, again, no complaints at the combat. The synergy skills was good.
Oh,
Bosses
love the
were
synergy
fun.
skills. Yeah.
Bosses were fun. Voice acting, I think you all said as well, was just amazing.
Yeah. Fabulous.
And I like, and this is I'm trying to be very careful now. I like how they imply certain things in their cutscenes that those who have played the game know exactly what's going on. But for people who aren't new to the game, are going to go, "Oh my God, what?" So that's cool that they've already put that in, so that you kind of gonna go. Like, for some people, there's like double meaning in some of these scenes, which I think is fantastic. And when Part 3 comes out, I would like to definitely review this game again in terms of the story beats that may have been discussed. That being said, I suppose we probably can discuss the ending, or is there anything else about the game that you want to discuss?
Quick touch on the cutscenes that you mentioned. I noticed they've massively improved just the most subtle facial animations on the
God, yeah, definitely,
yeah, for sure.
Just one little slight change, it's like, whoa, that's actually speaking volumes right there, even though you might not know, or some of us might not know what's going through their head right there. It's like, oh, that's so good. It's like, but can't really say anything at the time, or something like that, or they were just like, because I know they did some mocap as well for some of the fighting as well, and they just did a really good job, and I love it. And then when you're on about maybe coming back to the game afterwards, what we did is we revisited Remake after playing Crisis Core.
Yeah, we did, and played it back through again, and Integrate.
Everything that went flying over Kate's head, or the little subtle bits, such as like Cloud going, "Oh yeah, me and the Buster Sword been through so many things." It's like Genova kind of thing. It's like,
you're lying.
Oh, now it makes sense.
You're lying.
So, like,
yeah.
Yeah, so many little things. So I've got a feeling, because when we start talking about this ending, I think a lot of things have been dropped, and especially all in the last chapter. So it's like, oh, thanks, just dump it all at the end, why don't you?
Yeah.
And I feel like we're possibly missing things, and a lot of things just don't make sense. And I'm just hoping they resolve it by the third game.
Okay, so that being said, ending. I mean, obviously, taking parallels from the remake ending, can we now talk about that a little bit? Because it's been 4 years.
And also, like, you can friggin' tell that, like, and you can tell that, like, the director or whatever friggin', did bloody Kingdom Hearts, right? Yeah. Like, that, both final, boss fights, that final boss fight, ridiculous. It's like 12 stages. Just ridiculous.
The thing is, I can't talk about the final boss. There's still spoilers, because Dante will know what I'm referring to about Sephiroth's boss form.
Yeah.
We heard, didn't they? Because we just watched a video, like, speculating on the ending, like, tonight, just to kind of see what other people were saying about it. But,
you probably don't want to watch this video, because it would just give away things.
It didn't really, though. Well, it gave away the fact that their final form was what was at the end of Rebirth. So, what final form are they going to have? At the end of the third game?
There's another form that we haven't discussed.
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
but pretty much most of that battle was just the final battle, wasn't it? So it's like, oh,
Yeah,
they've got to
yeah.
be doing something new then for the third game.
Well,
Yeah.
But like,
was
even-
interesting, though.
I was like, there, Bizarro, and assessed it, and it's like, oh, it's not called Bizarro.
Yeah, you said Bizarro, and I'm like, that's not Bizarro. So obviously Bizarro is going to be
something else.
something. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
spoilers.
but it looks exactly
isn't Bizarro?
the
Isn't Bizarro like a Superman thing? Isn't
Yes.
that like
Yeah.
Isn't that like the villain like clone of Superman, like or something?
but
that like
between
Luthor cloned.
same. Between bad like translation anyway and this and that, a lot of things got tweaked anyway.
so
Yeah.
I have to ask Kate, because I'm trying to be really careful.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know up to now in terms of the story with what's happened at
Well,
the ending?
I obviously knew that Aerith died because that got spoilt for me. Like in like what was it, like biggest moments in gaming history or some kind of like video I was watching was like
Yeah.
showing Sephiroth obviously coming down with the sword. So I'm
Disclaimer.
like, well, spoiler,
Disclaimer,
you know,
I haven't spoiled it for you.
No, you didn't. It was a fucking YouTube video. I was like, right, well, obviously Aerith died, so I knew that was a thing. But then, like, at the end of Remake, and obviously the whispers, of fate, and then breaking, fate, and then I was thinking, well, okay, it could go absolutely anywhere. So maybe the whole point of this is actually Aerith doesn't die, and then they're going to just completely make it totally different, and then it's going to go in a completely different direction.
Yeah. I was hoping
That's what
that
I
was going to
thought.
happen.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, what is the point of the Whispers of Fate if not to save Aerith so she doesn't die? What was the point of bringing back Zack if not for him to have a major role in it in some way? But even then, the final bit, I don't know how much detail we're going to go into, but it's not clear. It's not clear. It is not clear. It looks like he saves Aerith.
Purposely so vague.
Okay.
But then he doesn't.
So,
But then at the end, is she a spirit? No one can see her. Tifa's crying. Red
Okay.
13's like clearly sensing something because obviously he's connected to the live stream or whatever. What's going on?
So as far as I can say, and Dante's probably going to go. The problem is there's loads of theories out here, but there's evidence to support and debunk it as well.
Yeah.
So my interpretation of the ending is, so it's hinted at that by Sephiroth is that there's basically for every decision you make, there is a multiverse of ff7 worlds where things slightly go different. Now,
Very Back to the Future of them.
kind
But we
of.
also caused it at the end of the last game by doing that Arbiters of Fate thing and breaking
Yeah.
it, that split off in the
Because it's
multiverse.
supposed to be
Yeah,
just
yeah.
one timeline, and it
Yep.
feels like Sephiroth is trying to do something that to kind of basically break fate or break whatever it is he's trying to do. Now, the thing about it is, it's kind of hinted at, if I'm interpreting it right, that Zack has survived in a parallel dimension or parallel timeline. Because obviously in the ending of the first Rebirth game, remake game, we saw a crisp packet of a different dog compared to what we saw in the original game with what going on there.
We call
and
that
that
the Terrier timeline.
Terrier timeline, lol.
and that Biggs was also had survived as well, and somehow the Whispers had moved them to that section as well. As we play through Zack's sections, there's a scene where he's trying to decide whether to go and help Biggs at the reactor or go to Shinra to talk to Professor Hojo to see about getting a cure for Cloud.
Cure for Cloud, yeah.
And then, depending which one he gets, you get a flash of light and a new FF Earth is created where you see different choices that Zack has made in terms of that kind of thing. That's the hinting that you're kind of getting at. Now, what makes it kind of crazy is when Cloud and Aerith fall at the Temple of the Ancients, you kind of see Cloud in the eyes of a different Cloud. I assume it's the same Cloud and Aerith that is in the world that Zack was, possibly, or something similar, because they're walking around with the same sky that Zack and Biggs can see.
But
It's like a
not
split.
the Terrier,
only-
though, Wall.
Cloud,
different
yeah,
stamp.
and only Cloud can see it. The others can't see that sky.
Oh, that's later on. I think.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that at the
Talking
end?
about
So
Right, okay.
the
date
reason.
Oh, the date bit. Yeah, they go back
Yeah.
to that world. Yeah.
Now, the possibly hidden meaning behind that is that either one, Cloud is going fucking loco, which is anyway, but also the fact that Cloud can interpret the other timelines and the other scenarios, because Cloud's been getting memories of interactions with Sephiroth. In the first remake game, Sephiroth was even saying, not yet. Like, our will be a part of it one day, but not yet. So there's hints that Cloud is perceiving certain aspects. So when Cloud actually deflects Sephiroth's sword at the end of... So by the way, if anyone's watching this podcast, there's massive spoilers at this point in time, people.
Yeah,
If you didn't
spoilers.
realise that, what the fuck are you doing?
You better put it in the description and the title. Spoiler.
Spoilers.
No.
Yeah, discussion.
Do
We
it.
discussed the
Don't be a
ending.
troll.
Yeah.
So when Cloud deflected the sword, spoilers, he obviously succeeded at that point, but then the Whispers interfered, and then she was also stabbed. So my theory or understanding of that is that Cloud is seeing both him saving Aerith and him not saving Aerith. So there's two timelines where she's been saved and she hasn't. Everybody else is in the timeline where she did survive.
I
But-
disagree.
No,
I have a
we-
different interpretation.
We've been discussing this quite
But we
a lot.
can
Ooh.
discuss it in a
Continue on.
minute after you've
Continue on.
continued. I
Now,
have a different interpretation. Go on.
now the fact that Red 13 can sense her, he's in tune with the planet, so I'm assuming that because she's on her own in the universe where she survived, because she even mentioned, I will stop Meteor. So I can't say any more than that, but she knows what's happening. So my assumption would be is that she is alive, and she will have some kind of part in part 3 that still keeps it faithful to the original game, because she wasn't around in that part of the game, or that's just them copping out and keeping it vague, as trying to send it off without her being around. But with the fact that Zach's mentioned that the worlds can combine again, or there's chances where they could have a chance to meet up, I have a sneaking suspicion that the game will have other characters maybe making an appearance to help out. So we
have
may
thoughts on
see,
that as well.
I have thoughts, yeah.
but I'll let you guys say your thoughts because it might affect mine.
I have thoughts.
Kate's
Right.
just gonna end up stealing most of them.
Yeah, okay. I'm like bursting just to like share them.
Oh, God.
Right, okay. So obviously they've clearly introduced the whole multiverse thing, right?
Yeah.
And the different worlds. So the world that Zack is in with Biggs is what we call a doomed world. So it's a version where Sephiroth has successfully like called down the meteor, because at the end of the fight we see that meteor about to hit, that doomed world, and everybody in that world is saying, oh, the world's going to end, it's doomed, we may as well just enjoy, sky's cracked, the world's going to end, we may as well just enjoy life and live our life and whatever. At the end of it then, because it looks like he's going to die, and that's how he's going to go out, because that's fated or whatever. But then obviously Aerith clearly opens up a crack in the ground and he falls through, doesn't he, into the space between time and space, and then he goes all rainbowy, and then he appears in the church. That church, if you have a look at it in the doomed version, the church is perfectly pristine. It's not destroyed, it's not cracked, but the church in the very end, the Sector 5 church, which is Aerith's church, is the church of the world that Remake and Rebirth is set in.
So you think Zach's already moved across?
He's already moved across, and I think he is in the same world as Cloud, Aerith, if Aerith is alive, and all of the other crew.
Okay.
That's what I think in terms of Zack. In terms of Aerith,
She is OP in this version.
She is OP. She's awesome. But I obviously, we have the white wisps, don't we? And we have the black wisps, right?
Yeah.
And the black wisps are obviously controlled by Sephiroth, and they're trying to stop Cloud being able to save Aerith. And the white wisps are like the arbiters, the actual arbiters of fate, but they're white. So in some way, I think Aerith, like they're trying to protect Aerith, or like help protect the planet, or whatever, or she's controlling them to some degree.
But obviously, brown, weren't they, in the first game?
Yeah, and obviously, like,
decked them.
he manages somehow to fight fate and like intercept the blade, right, to stop Sephiroth making the killing blow. And then at that point, it gets a little bit confusing because it seems that he does it, but then it goes all like that kind of green sort of fuzzy thing, Genova cell fuzzy thing, and it flashes to obviously what happened in the OG, which is where Aerith died, right? And we see Tifa, and we see everybody running towards Aerith, and we see blood, then we don't see blood, and then we do see blood, and then we don't see blood. I think that Cloud obviously intended to save Aerith, but I think the Genova thing, that often happens when there is like a disconnect or something that, like, in Cloud's mind, a contradiction is going, no, that's not right, no, that's not right, that isn't what happened, right? And I actually think that through some mind fuckery or Genova thing, that Cloud thought he saved Aerith, but he actually didn't. And then at the end, the way in which Aerith is acting, the way in which we see Tifa absolutely heartbroken and crying next to Red 13, Barrett obviously, we see her walk around the ship and like the plane, and nobody is reacting. Even what's his name, the pilot, talks about Aerith in past tense.
Yeah, Sid's like, what did she actually do?
What did she actually do? What did she do? As if she's not there. So she is there, but I think in some kind of like Cetra spirit form, almost like her mother did when her mum died, and could still sort of appear to Aerith or whatever. Aerith said she used to censor and stuff like that. I think Aerith is dead. I think she is dead. I think she's in spirit form now. Whether or not there's another multiverse timeline out there where he did save Aerith, right? And that Aerith is going to somehow appear in the... Because anything is possible when you have a multiverse.
Gosh. Exactly,
You can bring anybody back. Or you have a It's like, you could have... We talked about this. You could have, like... Aerith could be like, right, okay, final fight, 10 Clouds, let's go. Right? 10 Zacks, let's go. She
20
could do something...
Yuffies.
Exactly. Oh my god. Jesus
40
Christ.
Yuffies.
It would break the game. So you could do anything, but I do think at this point that Aerith is dead. I do think she is dead. And whatever, because you wouldn't leave her alone. Or like everybody would have a goodbye scene with Aerith at this point, because they've come so far together. And she only has a conversation with Cloud, so Cloud is seeing her, but I think that's something in his mind, because we know that Cloud is not completely all there. Yeah, exactly. So I think...
But even then, that's a crazy thing, because there's someone said to me, like, well, yeah, because they've just been ported to another timeline where she is dead, and so she's still in the original world that they were in.
Maybe. It could very well be.
But, it's so vague, because there's so many theories, and there's so many things to debunk each one.
Yeah.
I admit, my idea has holes in it completely. And that's why it's crazy.
I want to believe she's alive. Yeah, exactly. Like, I want to believe that she's alive because I love Aerith, and I'd like to see her and Zack. I mean, it's very fan servicey, obviously.
I mean, it's already completely gone off the rails anyway.
Yeah, but anything could happen in the third game. But also, then Cloud is seeing this tear in the sky, which is the tear in space time, whatever, between the worlds.
You've seen a doomed timeline, but no one else is. So it's like you're in two different timelines at once.
Yeah, so maybe
you gotta be.
No, so
in my mind, I think they're going to play the is he or is he not having PTSD right now. I think that's what's going to happen next game. He's like, questioning his sanity and questioning his memories. Absolutely.
He's got the black materia, apparently, as well.
Yes.
Whenever he got that, wherever that came from.
I can't say anymore because there's different somebody there in terms of that.
Yeah,
which Sephiroth Dante knows. So, well, yeah. No.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
No. So
And then,
Avalanche.
like, Aerith was
Code
all
word.
like, "Oh, dude, that's fake. That's a fake." It's like,
Yeah.
Aerith, what do you know, Aerith?
Yeah.
The frustrating part is the it's already gone off tangent because
Massively.
Cloud remembering Zack, for example, and telling Tifa early on in Nibelheim, that is completely new. He never remembered him at that particular point. Hell, even the interaction with Vincent is very different. And Sid, you didn't meet Sid at this point before then, so the way that they've done things, or the way that things are going to happen in the next game, I don't know. There's even the fact that general who
who the hell's that guy?
from
That's
Wutai.
obviously Genova.
Well,
wasn't a real guy,
blonde
right?
that blonde man, that General so and so,
Yeah.
he was in the Ever Crisis cutscenes.
Right.
If you notice,
Which,
with young Sephiroth.
Rufus killed? Shot in
Yeah.
the back or something, apparently. So,
But
yeah.
there's things here that there's a lot of questions, because obviously they're starting to go to war with Wutai potentially, and so there's loads of things that I'm trying to be really careful that were never in the original at that point. Like, for example, seeing the weapons,
Yeah. Apparently they were just
very
things you
different.
just fought in the original Dante.
And they were-
That whole
they're bigger.
Gongaga section.
The whole bit with Tifa was like, completely.
Like, what?
Like, what?
But the fact that
Okay.
Tifa can see Sephiroth, the fact that Sephiroth is doing crazy shenanigans, there's a lot of things there to show that Cloud isn't imagining Sephiroth at this point. He is guiding them. He is trying to urge them to do shit.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. Cisne was never in the original, but she
Yeah.
was in Crisis Core.
I love the fact that they included her. I thought that was great.
So there's some crazy shit coming out at the moment, and part 3 is going to be nuts. I don't think it's going to follow the set. There's going to be certain beats that'll be the same, but I do not think it's going to be anywhere near the same as it was before.
Yeah. Do you
Not
think
at
they've
all.
just kept it really just confusing and vague so that people just
We'll
debate
talk about it.
for like 3 years until the game actually comes out?
I don't think
And,
it's
like,
going to take as long as
Oh, I hope not.
remake to Rebirth, because
Yeah.
they've already kind of hinted at what they're doing with the world map, because you've already got it. You've got the grasslands, you've got Costa del Sol, you've got Cosmo Canyon. It's all already kind of pre-built, and the fact that they're on Unreal 4 and they have all the assets already, the only thing they've got to make is the new stuff for the next part of the story. So I think in terms of that, means they can really just focus on the story, the boss mechanics, the boss fights, the story beats. So I think if they're going to take the same amount of time, they're going to be really making it like a massive swan song finale. I wouldn't be. I don't think it's going to be like 2 years away. I think it's going to be a good 3 years, but I don't think it's going to take as long.
To go, right? Because Dante said like he's been playing back through the OG game originally, and he said like Aerith died at the end of disc 1 of 3. So
part 1,
there's
technically.
still a lot to go, right?
Yes and no, because
okay.
what Dante's remembering is she died at the end of disc 1. How much story was in disc 2?
Well, that is the question, because most of it, like, I suppose it was space for cutscenes.
I mean, disc 3 was pretty short story-wise, because it was like all the side content.
Okay.
So I would say that.
Yeah, without like saying any
Yeah.
spoilers and all this
All
and
right.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
Beat for beat, there was still a fair amount of stuff that happened after Aerith's death, but also they're gonna have to include the Wutai stuff now, and the stuff
Yeah.
with Vincent and Sid that they haven't touched on yet because they're leaving it for the third game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 2 to 3 discs.
Oh yeah, easily 3 discs. Two or 3 discs easily. I mean, it's 2 discs already, you know.
I mean, I downloaded digitally, and that was like 180 gig on, or how much gig it was.
Yeah, I got the physical copy because Dante got the
I
physical
got it.
copy, I should say. So like, yeah, we wanted the physical copy, but it was 2 discs. was
the
the
install disc and the
and then the play disc, yeah, which is crazy.
I mean, it's one of my top games for this year. Whether or not it's my favorite game of the year, I don't know, because there's still more games coming out. But I really wanted to kind of get this out here because I don't think we would be sane if we couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, and like we were like trying to like push through it. Like literally, we've been playing it every friggin' night. Like, and I even had a week off work for like my birthday, and we played it like all day and all night, right? And we
Quite
still like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Like 118 hours, just
And,
a beast of a game.
I'm already like, I had to complete this game purely because, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, I have a metric dick ton of RPGs to be playing this year.
Yeah.
Like I've already, this is my third RPG that I have completed since the new year. And I've got a new one I've just bought called Trails into Revelry, which came out I think last year, and that I need to play through that fucker because Tales of Draebake comes out in June, July, and then there's the new Legend Chronicles 100 Heroes coming out in April.
Yeah. I got Dragon's Dogma 2, and I've played about an hour and a half of it, and I was like, no more. I have to finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So
I don't know if I'm going to buy it. I might buy Dragon's Dogma 2 at some point, but I'm
enjoying it. Well, I haven't played very much, in all honesty, but I am enjoying what I've played so far.
I've been playing Helldivers 2 with Strife a little bit at the moment, and that's been fun.
Yeah, definitely want to jump in on that and play more of that now we finish Final Fantasy.
But I would give this game, it's not perfect, but it's been absolutely phenomenal. The work they've put into it, you can tell there's nothing lazy about it. They've really tried their best to give
it's clearly a labour of love. It's very clear when you play a game when you know you've got developers that love the project. I mean, we compare this to the previous game I reviewed this year, which was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and they do not compare. They do not compare. Like you can definitely tell the difference.
Already had massive backlash.
Just awful. But you can just tell the difference between like and this game is just like it's £60, 50, £60, but 118 hours, and that's like not 100% in absolutely everything, but like it's still doing pretty much a lot of what the game has to offer. But yeah, they just everything. Like the game just surprised me and constantly surprised me, whether it was through like story beats or mini games or new things that you unlocked or new things that you would discover. And it did a really good job of that, of keeping it like just fun.
Yeah.
Just fun.
Well, I know Nomura ended up becoming the creative director for Rebirth, and it was actually Hamaguchi that became the director for this one, and he's got memories. He was playing, the first game before he worked with Square and all that, and right. he was a massive fan.
Yeah.
And between them two, they've been like agreeing on how the plot should go and what should be referenced and what.
Oh my god! Just to be a fly on that wall for those.
Yeah,
discussions.
if you ever see any interview like the most recent ones with Hamaguchi, he's freaking adorable. This guy, he's just so like. Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of it all, and I'm like going, oh, I've got this idea, and all this
That's
and that.
awesome.
And yeah, you can just tell how much it is. Even though the ending confusing as hell.
Yeah.
It's like everything leading up to it.
It's very Kingdom Hearts. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, like I'm gonna play the OG eventually, but I am waiting to play the third game on this, and then I'm gonna go back and play the OG through.
Yeah.
Like just to see how it is different. Because that's what I want to do, because I do think they're going to change.
So basic.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe, but I think like having not played the OG, yes, I get it. There are references and there are things that you get, but also there are moments. I'm annoyed that I got spoiled about Aerith dying, right, and that was the thing.
She's right there. She's right next to me right now.
Yeah, I know. But like. I didn't know anything else. I knew nothing else, right? So there were so many moments that happened throughout the story that were just kind of joyful for me. because
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to happen. And even when we were like going to like discovering about, you know, the Gi and then a little bit on Genova's backstory, and I'm speculating, going, oh, maybe it's that or it's that, and we're talking about it, right, as we're playing it. That's fun, you know, when you're playing a game and you don't know what's coming, and there's something to be said for that experience of not having played the original. And then I'll go back and play the original, and then I will understand it on a whole other level. You know what I mean? And I had that when I played the remakes to start off with. I went back and played Crisis Core, and then went back and played through the remake again, and I got so many more things because of that pre-knowledge. But I still got to experience the game for the first time for myself, which was truly special. And I don't want to. I would have been gutted if I had lost that experience. You know, of having played it. You know what I mean?
What I think's mad is that if you didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's. I mean, if you didn't know that Aerith got killed, right? That in this game, Marlene.
They spoil it. Marlene just spoiled it. She's like, she's gonna die. Really? Okay, sure. So what? Yeah, she did.
Because that whole scene's like rattling around my head because she's banging on about that Aerith waking up, and then later that Aerith does wake up because I think she's timeline hopping with her spirit just so she can get a white materia to Cloud. Because hers turned clear for some reason.
And then you've
What
got the
did you
clear.
think of the clear one, Edge?
I have my thoughts on that, but I'd love to hear Edge's thoughts.
Because they kept saying that the Whispers basically taxed it at the end of the first game.
Well, so that materia, can we say what it is, or do we, in terms of what the spell it is, or do we know? The white materia. Yeah,
it's the white materia.
The white materia.
Which is a wish manifested, right? Like, because that's what the black materia is, a wish for death. Everything,
so,
the dark wishes of the Gi.
Yeah,
right?
so there's the most powerful destructive magic and the most powerful protective magic. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
life and death, basically.
I think that when they removed her memories, they also removed the prayers, because I think she was constantly praying, or there was constantly wishes and things built into that materia, because materia is built on memories as well, isn't it? And experiences and so forth. So at this point in time, it's empty. There's nothing in it. So it could become anything else. So her praying is her trying to make the white materia activate or be prepped, ready to go. In the original, the white materia had been activated, I believe, during the ending of that death scene. What it did was being whatevered, but we're being clear, it's not the white materia, it's just a clear empty vessel, as far as I was aware from my understanding of it. But you may have different thoughts than me.
I think the materia is clear, because I think the Aerith that had the white materia, because it was gifted to her, right, from her mother, right, to protect it,
passed down from
Cetra to Cetra, right? And I think that when they did that final fight against the Whispers and obviously beat them and everything, Aerith, I think, somehow activated that materia or made a wish or something and spent that prayer or that wish, and that is what actually brought Zack and Biggs, saved them and put them into an alternate world, which totally changed everything.
So he used it up pretty much.
I think she used it up in that moment to and that could have been a planned gamble of, like, you know, some foresight that she had, obviously, knowing that maybe Zack and Biggs, but I think more Zack would play an important part, maybe, and that's why that materia is clear, because it's been used up. The magic inside it, it's been used up. That's what I think.
That's possibly why Aerith was then also like, right, in this timeline now I've got to get another white materia in it, and that's why when they fall from the temple, that whole jazz with the black materia and stuff, and they wake up in a different timeline. It's not the Terrio one with Zack, because the stamp looks different, and you know, she gets the little flower kind of patch on her jacket, I think, to like kind of distance her apart. She hands over that timeline's white materia to Cloud.
Yep.
for
Who then
him
gives
to
it back
bring
to her.
Yeah, because then she shoves him back into the main timeline.
Yeah, you're right.
Just as Sephiroth comes in to say, aha, and now I'm going to kill you in this timeline.
Exactly, yeah.
So that version of Aerith's dead in that one as well.
Mm.
But now the white material's back in the main timeline, and he passes it to Aerith. She says thank you and gives him the clear one.
Yeah.
It's all like really. It's like she's planning 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And jumping timelines to do this.
Yeah.
It's mad because like
Fascinating.
half it I keep going, man, I just wish they did a expanded but basically a one-to-one story beat of this without all the timelines and all this and that.
You know, after the completion, they're going to bring out this book where that explains everything.
God, yeah, it's like
they're gonna have to.
Because I think in one of the Ultimas that hasn't even been translated yet, the kind of guide, like behind the scenes books, it has a guide on which Sephiroth is being seen right in this cutscene. It'd be like, oh, this one's in Cloud's memories triggered by Genova cells in him. This one's Black Robe number 12. This one's Black Robe number... and stuff like that. It's like, oh my god, it is that complicated.
I'm wondering if there's more than one Sephiroth at this point.
They're seen... Well,
It could be.
Sephiroth and Aerith are both timeline jumping all over the place.
Yeah, they are.
It's plainly seen because, like, he's even saying, this is where you're hiding. And he's almost like...
He's chasing
saying
her.
He's found Aerith Prime. It's like the one.
Yeah.
You have to kill all the Aeriths.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Because she's messing around. And then you see...
I mean, you even see what is it, Cloud in a cutscene being a black robe saying reunion.
Yeah.
Which never, I don't think ever actually happened in the OG. So
that's the
another
timeline,
possible.
obviously, where Cloud is given in to the Genova cells and is completely,
And then there's another one. Moving on.
Okay,
but
okay.
there's then we see another timeline because you can see Johnny in the background of the church holding a Shiba Inu like version of Stamp, which is a complete. While Zack's outside going, what? And then another Sephiroth is coming.
I mean,
through
Crisis
the
Core
church.
pretty much tells you what Cloud's backstory is at that point in terms of the scenario.
Nibelheim,
So you know what happened in Nibelheim at that point.
Yeah.
And you know what the Vats were in Nibelheim when Cloud goes all fucking
and what
loco.
happened and everything. Yeah. I know all of
So
that. Yeah, but I think
crazy.
you're right. I think the stamps, the dogs. That's the clue.
Help explain which
that's the
timeline
hint.
you're looking
So if
at
it's
in the
if it's
cutscene.
a different dog, it's a different time. It's a different world, a different timeline.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go back through and be like, right, that's
Yeah.
1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5.
What got
And then,
extra confusing was
Flow
that
chart.
Sephiroth keeps... Actually, Sephiroth and Aerith kept chopping bits of timelines in half and dropping Zack through it.
God.
So that's why he ended up joining Cloud at one point and then got thrown out again.
Yeah.
And then Aerith had to go retrieve him.
Yeah.
It's
They
crazy what
changed
they're
like
doing.
multiverses multiple times in that final chapter. Multiple
Yeah.
times. That's why it's so confusing.
But
I think.
and that's why the ending just seems so kind of weird
Rushed?
to me and kind
Don't you
of
think it felt rushed?
Oh, definitely that. But
I think they just did like lots of exposition
Unexplained.
dumping at that point.
Right at
yeah.
the last chapter.
because then they even threw in like the reveal about that
Genova's not a satyr.
Glenn guy was like that was what through the temple while you were walking.
Yeah.
And that was another case
It's not
where
a
the
satyr.
music the music
the
was too
audio
loud
levels in
and
the
we
game
could
were not
barely
good.
hear what was getting said. 'Cause
Yeah.
this game is just like that. We turn the music right down and we still can't hear what they're saying without subtitles on.
Yeah.
Glenn got like I'd already cracked it down. If Rufus goes and kills a dude and then they're back, that's Genova pretending to be them because he just reads memories and takes what form it control with. And they kept mentioning that Viceroy Seraph, and I can't believe it took me a little while to figure out who that is.
Go on.
Did it's Rufus himself.
It is?
Yeah, you look at his name. Yeah, so this Viceroy that's supposed to have been helping Wu Tai out against Shinra and all this and that is freaking Rufus. So when when Glenn's coming in going, this Viceroy Seraph didn't turn up, he's having a go at Rufus because he knows it's him as well. It's more obvious, I think, in the Japanese version because they just anagram his name. Rufus.
Okay.
Rufus. It's basically it's him. Which leads on to another little secret about Rufus, but you don't know about that unless you played that mobile phone only game. You know, when Avalanche was first set up.
Okay.
Before Crisis and stuff like that, so I won't. But basically, I think they're egging onto that. They'll do more of that in the third game as well. But what was my original point? Yeah, the ending. Weird, because you've got super sad cast, except Cloud.
Yeah.
Who seems to be living in both worlds. And like I say, at one point, I'm sure just the facial I saw that Tifa was absolutely disgusted with Cloud at one point, because she's like, why are you not more sad, basically, in one scene.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And he's smiling off to the side because he's looking at an area that only he can see.
Yeah.
And I think that might be also why she decided to leave them behind at the end, because it's like, this is going to get awkward and weird if you're the only one that can see me, mate. Because they go, like, can't you see her? She's just there. And everyone else is going to be like, you're nuts. So...
Give me a second, guys. I'm going to do a second part, a second. Because we're
Okay.
Okie dokie.